In today's challenging business environment, procurement needs to be strategic and proactive to build a cost-effective supply chain. If you are ready to take your procurement game to a new level, it's time to get acquainted with different procurement practices, including intelligence-driven procurement, market-based collaborative procurement, and unapologetic purchasing. Hi. My name is Jani. In this series of videos we are going to explore useful practices and tips in procurement and suppliers verification. Stay tuned. Procurement, supply chain and inventory management departments manage the impact of inflation and keep their costs low by managing their suppliers' prices and contract terms, controlling inventory levels, and negotiating the best possible terms and conditions for procurement. Global inflation is forecast to rise in 2022 but to decline in 2023 and 2024. Purchasing directors can assess an organization's willingness to adapt to inflation with a few questions. Have we quantified the potential impact of inflation, volatility, and supply chain disruptions at the commodity and supplier levels? Do we have a deep understanding of our suppliers' industries and their dynamics? Do we have a proven scenario for recovery and then cost control as inflationary pressures ease, volatility trends change, and supply chain realignments? How do we integrate the knowledge and improvements of this difficult period into our operating model? How can we include non-economic factors in the decision-making process? In the face of economic uncertainty and high inflation, it is worth focusing on 5 key areas of procurement. Firstly, identify high-impact categories. Before making any purchasing decisions, you need to conduct market research to understand the current cost of your materials and services and predict the price trends of your suppliers. Typically, these are categories with prices tied to commodity indexes, such as metals, energy, livestock and meat, and agricultural products, products with high commodity value, products that are likely to face a supplier request for price increases, and products where a price increase cannot be passed to customers. Identifying high-impact categories enables procurement to make targeted plans for specific categories rather than taking a scattergun approach to mitigating inflation. Advice: implement should-cost modeling, research the cost structure and drivers behind the categories you are procuring. Secondly, increase the availability supplies, quickly connect new ones. Larger suppliers usually have stricter contract terms and an inability to accommodate even insignificant amendments. On the other hand, expanding your supplier base to target smaller suppliers who are generally more responsive to the value of the contract and willing to negotiate more favorable terms. Advice: expand diversity among your suppliers and add value to your organization. Thirdly, a strategic search for a supplier and verification of the necessary documentation. In modern conditions, many organizations face interruptions in their supply chain. In this regard, it is necessary to ensure consistency and transparency of procurement. This procurement practice allows you to use supplier relationships to gain access to new products, services, and sources that can provide you with lower costs as well as supplier reliability. This includes background checks of the business and its authenticity, compliance with legal aspects, including all relevant licenses, business license, export license, etc., and certificates necessary for the supplier to conduct business. Construction of the facility in terms of capacity for storage, production, transport, and other similar aspects. The role and effectiveness of the quality assurance department in the organization. Fourth, cooperation and negotiations with suppliers. During a period of inflation, suppliers will attempt to pass costs on to their customers all along the value chain. When a supplier proposes a price increase, procurement can step in and negotiate a lower increase if possible. Advice: consider longer-term agreements and/or increased purchasing volume. Implement index-based pricing terms in your contract that allow for a price increase or decrease if an agreed-upon index moves more than 3% in either direction. Indexes to consider should include the Consumer Price Index, Producer Price Index, and Cost of Living Adjustment. Fifth, financial hedging. Direct hedging by entering into a number of supplier contracts with varying term lengths, fixed and variable costs, and staggered purchases can even out total costs and manage volatility. Buying contracts that fix or cap the price of a commodity, if there are liquid markets, futures, forwards, options, can also be effective. When it comes to managing the impacts of inflation in procurement, you have to be strategic and proactive. Investing time and effort in market research, collaboration with suppliers, and strategic sourcing can significantly reduce your company's expenses and mitigate the impacts of inflation. Thank you for your attention.